The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss an episode, you can catch me on Apple or Spotify at the Main Street Code or the mainstreetcode.com to get previous episodes. When we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States with their life insurance needs, annuities, disability, long-term care, and life settlements if you're in a position where you want to sell your policy if you're older and policy's not performing or you don't need it anymore. Today, I want to talk about some successes, but also a continuation of last week of, why we had to have these successes. It's positive and negative. So we had 6 cases, 6 clients, decisions reversed, where they were declined for life insurance and we got them best class, or we got them where they were rating them, which we thought was not correctly, to a better class. And what does that mean when we get them to a better class? Well, the way life insurance is priced is they usually have like best class would be the lowest price. That means your health is terrific. Next, they would have maybe an intermediate class, maybe have some issues, but you're still in great shape. Then they have what they call standard. Okay, I have some basic issues. Maybe I have some high blood pressure and cholesterol. Maybe I'm a little overweight. Nothing too serious, but nothing that makes you stand off the charts. Then they go into rating classes for what they call impairments, cancer, heart disease, stomach issues. Whatever health issues you have that they feel are severe, they will charge you more money and rate you differently. And if you're a smoker, that puts you in a whole nother class. That almost doubles your price because it all has to do with your mortality and the insurance company having odds on how they're going to insure you. So rating and if you're issued is very important, and these are things that you need to know. So we had 6 cases, 6 clients, 6 families that were going to be declined for life insurance. Now, once you're declined for life insurance, that goes into the Medical Information Bureau, which I've talked about in previous shows. The Medical Information Bureau reports to any insurance carriers forever, whenever you're applying for some other life insurance, anytime in the future, it will say you're declined and this is why, and they have all these reasons. Okay? And that becomes problematic as life goes on if you want to get coverage. And life insurance is a tremendous asset. People think of it as a commodity, but it's an asset. Let's face it. If you pass away, it's a tax-free cash to your heirs that they can use for their lifestyles and move forward. It's income replacement for you, for your beneficiaries. It's a very important element. And if you have a policy that what I call is permanent, it has cash value, so you can use it later on down the line for your retirement and or for other purposes. for paying for college, for your retirement. So it is a tremendous, tremendous asset. So not to have insurance, even if you're not that well off, is important that you have. It's a very important asset. So we had 6 cases that we had reversed what the insurance company was going to offer. So they never went on the Medical Information Bureau. And the reason they were declined or rated all has to do with AI. AI is destroying the industry completely. And if you were to take from a regular insurance agent, everyday insurance agent, they're not trained on underwriting, okay? If you're doing it online, they're not trained in underwriting. Underwriting is the key to getting the best price for your coverage. And we fight for every situation, for every client, for every family out there in getting the coverage that they want and desire. So here's what happened with these cases. When AI takes over and they don't have underwriters at insurance companies, what happens is as soon as you take an application, they order something called a Milliman report. That's the latest fad, is these Milliman reports. They're also using some other things called different vector reporting, all this reporting. And what happens is anytime a doctor prescribes a drug to you, it goes on this report. Or anytime you see a doctor, it goes on this report. So you take, and all these insurance companies are trying to alleviate their costs of having underwriters or real people look at you, and they're relying on all these computer reports on how you are. Well, here's the problem. I'll take each situation at its own. One client was completely rejected because they said the lab results that they saw were way out of whack. It turns out the lab results they saw were for another client, and the computer put it to a different client, so it wasn't them at all. We got that person best classed, cheapest price. They were expecting to pay a lot more, actually, but we got them at the best price possible because we showed where the computer screwed up. That was one. Another one, and a couple of these happened recently, where they got this report. One of them had long COVID, okay, and this has happened in the last couple of years, where a doctor prescribed they had a blood clot. And it's been resolved, but they gave them blood thinners. And the medicine they used went onto this report, and the report automatically generated that it had heart disease and blood clots. And by the way, also a pulmonary embolism, which never had. So all of a sudden, they're getting rated for heart disease, embolism, and something else. In addition, this gentleman had back issues for the last 4 or 5 years, and there were various painkillers that were prescribed. The Milliman report reported he had psychiatric issues because of the drugs that were prescribed. Now, if you order online, or everyday person, and they don't know these things, computer kicks you out of the system and says you're a bad risk. And then you have to go back and fight. And that's what we do. We go back and fight. And how do we fight? So one of the big things we do is we try and get as much medical information ahead of time as we can. And we recommend to everybody that you take some accountability on your own health. And one of the things that you can do on your own health is any doctor you see, you go on a portal. And I recommend you download your health and see what the doctor has on your portal. Very important. Now, I've gone to Stony Brook, I've gone to Northwell, I've gone to New York Langone. I have doctors at all 3 things. I can tell you that there are so many errors between what my doctors put on. It's ridiculous. You have to be, number 2 thing I want to tell you is you have to be your own advocate, okay? This hospital system says I'm on this prescription. This hospital says I'm on that prescription. They don't change these prescriptions until you go there and they ask, oh, what prescriptions are you on? Oh, I saw you took prednisone. Okay, prednisone is a steroid, and I took it for having a, what was it for? I think I had an allergic reaction to poison ivy. So they gave me prednisone. But they still taking me on prednisone, and that drug, that steroid, has terrible long-term effects, but if you take it for 5 days, it's okay, but it has in the system that I'm still on it. So these are the kind of things you have to look at, and we discuss when you're getting your life insurance coverage. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm still not done on this topic, and we'll be right back after a short break. If you need to get hold of me, the best way is 631-647-4694. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. Before the break, we were talking about AI and how it affects your life insurance. We were also talking about a couple other things. One is you need to be your own advocate when it comes to your medical information. Download the portals. When you go to different doctors, computers are dictating what they're giving you in medicine. They're using AI. The insurance companies are using AI. And how are they using AI? Well, you come in and you say this aches. So the doctor immediately prescribes you X. Okay? The computer never asks you, how do you feel? You don't have computers ask you, how do you feel? How are you reacting to this drug? Are you discussing that with your doctor afterwards? If you're having a bad reaction or another negative reaction, you go to another doctor and that's going to tell you something else and prescribe you another drug. This is what's going on today in medicine, and it's very scary. Okay? You need to be your own advocate, and you need to download all your doctor's information and keep all your medical records with you. That's a big word of advice. And if you're applying for life insurance, disability, or long-term care, it's all the same, because these medical reports are going to haunt you and go with you forever unless you have a live person you can speak to and explain them to an insurance company. We had an insurance company reject 6 people over the last week that we got reversed all into the cheapest, best price because we did it the old-fashioned way. We went back and got their medical reports, and we disputed everything. And guess what? We were right every single time, and the client was right. But I'm going to tell you, most agents don't know this. They're not taught this today. Because they're all taught to use the computer. They're all taught to go on volume. They're taught how to sell their company's product. We're completely agnostic, by the way. We represent 30 different insurance companies. And career guys that are with, Mass Mutual, Guardian, they all come to us to help them place life insurance because they don't understand the underwriting process. They don't understand that you need a real live underwriter to review everything because they're all talking to computers. And the insurance companies, I'm sorry, are relying on computers to make decisions to save money, but it's really costing them money, instead of investing in people to look over what these computers are saying. And it's making decisions that are affecting your life and your family. So they still need us. We are the defenders of you, trying to get you the coverage that you want and you need. And you need to understand, and that's why so many agents use Main Street Planning Group as their wholesaler, as well as clients call us to get them the kind of coverage they want. Not just underwriting, but designing the right product for what you need. We give you financial solutions, not product. Okay? So your financial solution for what you're trying to do depends. It's not a cookie cutter, you should get whole life. You should buy universal life. You should buy this product. You should buy that product. You should buy term. No. It's what is the right thing for you and your circumstances. Always. It has nothing to do with product. Sometimes it's a legal situation that we need to help you with. Sometimes it's an accounting situation. We're not accountants, we're not attorneys, but we know enough to say, hey, this is what you need here, and then the insurance comes later. This is how we're going to back it up and support you. That's the difference in working with us. I know this is a commercial, but this is what we do, and I'm trying to explain why it makes a difference in doing it the right way. So if you're buying life insurance, you're buying long-term care, you're buying disability, I recommend you reach out to us, even if you're in the process and you run into a brick wall. Your agent may or may not know what to do. Okay? We do know what to do. So, lesson learned, take control of your own medical. You are your own advocate. Don't let doctors just prescribe drugs willy-nilly, because that's what they're doing. Okay? That's a big lesson. Secondly, if you're trying to order online, what's going to happen is when you call up 1-800-INSURANCE, they're basically doing things on volume. So they're going to give you a product. It may not meet your needs, but more importantly, they're relying on a computer to give you a fast decision, and the computer is going to kick out all these different things that they find in your medical reports, in the medicines you're taking, and they're not accurate. Okay? They're just not working, because whatever drug they prescribe you down the line, it could have uses for other things. I mentioned prednisone. Prednisone's used for asthmatics. It's used for inflammation. It's a steroid. It has a lot of side effects. Long-term use, medical professional not happy. Now, there's another scenario that happens too. Let's say you're one of those people that never go to a doctor. Okay? And we just recently had a 70-year-old hasn't been to a doctor in 30 years. Guy's healthy. He feels great. It turns out he is healthy. So he did take an application with another company, and they declined him right away before he even said boo, because guess what? Like a car, like anything else, they want to see maintenance. They want to see you have an oil change. They want to see you got things checked out. They want to make sure. The insurance company's not going to take a gamble on you just because you say you're healthy and you feel like you're healthy. They rely on data. So if you have no data, that could be a problem too. So we would recommend, if you're looking to get coverage or legacy, as this gentleman was, you go to a doctor ahead of time and let's get a report. And let's make sure that you're healthy before you apply. We did that, and we got this gentleman $1 million of coverage at the best possible rate after you already got declined from somebody else, because we took the proper steps to get him. He wanted a legacy for his children. He's a widower, and he's got plenty of cash flow, still working, and he wanted this legacy, and he had an old policy, and now we got him refreshed coverage for less money and more insurance for his children, which is what he wanted to do. Very important. Now, you may think you don't need life insurance. Oh, by the way, 2 other points I wanted to make today. One thing about the big, beautiful bill and every other tax change we've had in the last 10 years, and every time we have a new president, a new this, there's new taxes, there's new this and that, there's one product in the world that has not been touched. It's life insurance. Life insurance is the best asset you could possibly own because it's tax-free to your heirs. And guess what? If you have a permanent policy and you put money in that policy, you're not taxed on any of the income growth. Ever. And if you want to take money out of that policy down the road, it's tax-free. There's no other asset that does that. Grows tax-deferred, can take the money out tax-free, and the death benefit's tax-free. You want to leave something behind? I mean, it's great to leave a house behind to your 3 children and let them fight over all the contents and everything else without having a life insurance policy. That's exactly what's going to happen. One kid wants to live in the house, one kid wants to sell the house, and one kid wants to rent it out because he's the investment guy. Okay? And this is what happens every single time. And forget about the contents. Oh my God, you have paintings, you have this, you have couches, whatever it is. You want to see your kids fight over something? Watch them fight over. And the one who's been taking care of you, they think they're entitled to more. Well, guess what? They haven't been paid for taking care of you for years. Maybe they are entitled to more. But if you're leaving everything to your kids, sorry, they don't get more. That always creates a problem between the 3 children or 2 children. Always. Every day. So there's things you need to think about when you're doing your planning. And so it's not just going to an attorney and getting a will, oh, I'm all done. It doesn't work that way, because the will is not going to say, okay, give Johnny this couch, give this one my coin collection, give this one that. It's just going to say, leave it to my 3 kids to fight it out later. Do we want that for our children? It's for them to be fighting? No, we don't. So, you're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I could talk about this all day long. I hope you enjoyed today's show. The best way to reach me, Neil Himmelstein, is 631-647-4694. Visit me on themainstreetcode.com. Watch me on Apple, or listen to me on Apple. Listen to me on my podcast. Whatever you like, we're here for you. Again, Neil Himmelstein, 631-647-4694. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.